Okay, welcome to Community Board 7's Committee Bylaws Committee adjunct ad hoc committee meeting. So I am going to read the committee guidelines. It is now 5:38 on May 17th. And I will read the guidelines as follows. Good evening. This is Myrna Calderon, Chair of the Ad Hoc Bylaws Committee of Community Board 7. The committee agenda is as follows. We will be reviewing our bylaws once again to finalize and make a presentation to the full board and to the executive committee and preparing a resolution. So on April 20th, 2023, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 387, extending the state of emergency through May 20th, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the Video Conferencing Law, Chapter 56, Part WW. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on the conference call, controls while joining from the landline or cell by calling dial-up number. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone. *6 to mute or unmute yourself, *9 to virtually raise your hand. How we will run this meeting is as follows. Code of conduct for meetings and penalties and actions. Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of this meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban of the participant, the amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committee or committees in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If a person's outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raise hand button on your screen for Zoom, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the outline link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions by pressing the raise hand button or on your screen via Zoom, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation, agenda item, and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now, or contact district manager. Thank you very much. We can begin the meeting and I will take attendance. Do I have the attendance sheet? Let me see who's here.
I can share my screen. Hold on.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you, everybody that's attending. Okay. Myrna Calderon, Chair, I'm present. Just say your name and present. Andre Leosa,
Drew Leosa present.
Betty Arce,
Betty R.C. present.
Victor Saldana. Is Victor here? Okay, Barbara Stronser,
Barbara Stronzer is present.
Yahaira Arias
Yahaira is present.
is, okay, so right now Victor's not present. So, but we do have quorum, we can continue. And if he joins us, we will add him to the attendance. Okay, with that, we will begin to start. So two corrections that need to be made to the bylaws. We are ready to present. Let me pull up the agenda. Can you pull up the agenda?
Yes. Hold
Okay.
on.
Okay. So, we are going to clarify 3 items that came up once the bylaws, the changes are released to the full board and to the current committee. So Barbara, we found two omissions. Do you wanna clarify that for the committee so that we can fix it?
All right, at the paragraph where we discuss the different offices of the community board, we did not list the third vice chair, but below it, where we describe the duties of each, we did list the third vice chair with his or her duties. So I think we need to be consistent and just add it above as one of the offices.
So thank you. So is everybody realize that was an omission? Because we did not eliminate the third vice chair. Does everybody see that in their bylaws, or should, who can share their screen with the bylaws? Because I'm coming from my phone, so I can't do it. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
And I know it was probably just, we were working on so many things that just is always something
the
missing.
offices,
The
yes.
officers, okay.
Chairperson, vice, second chairperson, right, stick it right in there, third vice chair.
Okay, so can we just add that in right now?
I would think so.
Yeah,
Say maybe send an addendum or something to the full board before we vote.
right,
Or
right,
before the exec meeting.
yes. Because that was just an omission. It's just,
Right,
how
if
many
you-
times we
If you
read
look
it?
underneath, it will be, the duties will be defined.
Right. Is everybody on the committee in agreement with that? That was just an
Yes.
omission?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, was there anything else, Barbara? Was that it?
I believe that was it, if I recall.
Okay, so secondly, I wish Eric had stayed on because he was on the prior meeting. But Eric Asensio needed a clarification. I think that I think we can discuss that right now, but maybe we can clarify it to the executive committee. And it was actually, Andrew, that you made the suggestion, which I fully agree with, was he was concerned that we said that if you miss 3 consecutive meetings and or 50% of your committee meetings, that 3 meetings did not equal 50%. I can read you exactly. I don't know if everybody got that. Let me find it on my email. But I think it's just a misunderstanding of why we had to do that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what Andrew brought up was a loophole, because technically you could attend 3 consecutive board meetings and not be in violation of the attendance requirement and still miss your committee meetings. So that was a loophole. So what I believe what the minutes said, and I don't know if those minutes went out, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I send it to everybody. But the understanding was that you didn't want to give somebody the option that they could just come to the board meetings and miss their committee meetings obligations. And so, and then, as we know, if you don't attend your committee meetings, we have had issues in the past where some committees have not been able to reach quorum. So this was to fix that loophole. Am I correct, Andrew? Is Andrew there still?
Yeah,
hand is up.
he's on.
Oh,
I'm
he's got
sorry.
his hand raised. Go ahead,
There it
Andrew.
is.
So the
Oh,
issue
Eric
is,
is on. Hi, Eric.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
so the issue is, let's say, yeah, any meetings, period. I don't care what meetings they are, any meetings you are expected to be in attendance of, based upon whether you're an officer or committee member, whatever. So, theoretically, so right now it's like any 3 meetings in a row. So you could go to 2 meetings, miss a meeting, go to 2 meetings, miss a meeting, go to 2 meetings. That means you could go to 66% of your meetings in a year and still qualify as a member in good standing. And I think that as a board, we cannot afford that level of participation. So that was the idea, that you can't miss more than half of the meetings that you were supposed to be there, or higher, maybe 75%. I don't know. But, we can't have that kind of situation where, like I said, somebody can just, every 3rd meeting that they were supposed to be at, no matter what meeting it was, they can just not attend, and it would be okay. And I don't think that that's adequate. But people may think that's okay. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
But what I'm saying, Andrew, is like it's either 3 sequential or 50% of the assigned committee meetings. And if you what you're stating is you go to
It should
2
be
meetings.
50% of all meetings. It doesn't matter committee. 50% of all meetings, any meetings. You can't miss more than half. About a student missing half their classes and getting a passing grade. So I'm saying 50% of all meetings. No matter
Okay,
what
so
the
then
meeting
there should maybe be a comma after assign, right? 50% of 50% of comma assigned committee meetings and general board meetings. It's just the way that when you read it, right? It's not
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Because now you're saying, or 50% of assigned committee meetings and general board meetings.
Okay, so can you read that change and let's vote on it? Let's agree to that Because it does need, we just want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. And if we have a committee member, board member that already is, it sounds a little confusing, we want to make sure. We're trying to
Right, 'cause
remove any
to me,
confusion.
yeah, to me, it sounded like you were saying 3 sequential or 50% of the committee meetings. But I understand what Andrew's saying.
Okay. So can you, so let's put it, so somebody read it back. I don't see where. You want to say it again, Eric?
So here it is, now it says, costs shall include missing 3 sequential or 50% off, comma, assigned committee meetings and general board meetings.
Okay. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yes, and you're gonna leave the parentheses separately or in combination?
I separately. or
Yeah,
in-
for further clarification.
Yeah, we
Okay,
have to.
good, yes,
Yes.
Sounds good.
okay, I'm in favor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye,
And then
Aye.
my other comment here, Myrna, was that you see
Okay.
where it says section, it says section 4.4,
All right,
Point
then it should
one.
just say 4.
right?
Right. Let's remove that .1. You're right. Just, just a little housekeeping. Okay,
that's better,
okay,
good.
Yes.
okay. So another issue that was brought up by the public at our first meeting of our nominating committee was a clarification on who can make nominations for executive board members of Community Board 7, chair, vice chair, etc. So we need to clarify that so that there's no confusion in the future. So can we pull that up, that section?
You're going to put it in the nomination section?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, this is
Well,
what we were talking about.
Do we have it? So,
maybe this next to, nominations are taken from the floor, or, all nominations come from the floor by board members. Something to
Community.
that effect, where at the May general board meeting that you have in the box,
It should be community board members.
yes, community board or whatever, however you want to
That
say.
section, Carla, that's, yeah, you can put that there and then section B.
okay.
That's good.
So we're saying that nomination for CB7 shall be made from the floor by community board members
Members.
and shall end when no more nominations are made during the nominating section in the May meeting. Is
Correct.
everybody in agreement with that?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Okay, so can we,
Myrna,
let's have,
Myrna, if I may,
go ahead,
uh,
Eric.
it should say the all nominations for officer, not for office, for officer in
Oh,
CB7.
officers, that's correct. Thank you.
Okay,
Housekeeping again.
good, right.
The other thing is, do we want to say nominations are taken from the floor by community board members in good standing?
Uh,
No, because
Yeah,
I
we
think
know that.
anybody can make a nomination, no?
Right, if you're a member, right,
You,
I think
you
so.
already say that, you already say
Yeah.
that in C,
We already,
section C.
that's that's a
That was-
prerequisite, basically, before being nominated.
Mhm.
The person nominated has to be in good standing, but we wouldn't be able to determine the nominator's good standing. I don't think that's really relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as they have not been removed from the community board, they're still
Right.
acting members. So they can make
Correct.
a nomination. That's my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
But you see, go to C, and it says that the nominating committee is to ensure that the nominating candidates are in good standing in
Right.
CBC to hold office.
Right.
So that's even if the nomination goes to floor, it's going to be up to the nominating committee to double check to make sure that they are.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
think we should be in a position to question the people who are nominating and their good standing. I mean, we never get out of a meeting if we have to start checking that.
okay.
So-
Can we look at what we put in the box and maybe change that a little bit, because what we're saying up there now is nominations are taken from the floor by community board members. That's not what we want to do. We want to say all nominations maybe are made from the floor, or how do we want to say that? It almost looks like community board members are taking nominations from people on the floor, and I don't think we want that.
All right. All nominations are taken.
By, or no, not taken, who's taking them, but only
Nominations are
community
only
board
taken.
members can nominate other members, something to that effect.
Accepted, nominations are accepted.
Okay, accepted from the floor. We want to make sure that it's only community board members that we're taking them from.
Just say nominations are to be made, are to be. No, because taken is
You
fine.
could just say,
Maybe
right,
it-
you could say
the
by
nominating
community board
committee.
members only. Nominations for positions,
Okay,
For officer positions.
right. And then you could say by community board members only,
okay.
because there's no provision, I have seen no provision for anything other than that.
That's
And we
correct.
will just, maybe Carla, you can make a phone call to the borough president's office and just clarify that, but that is, I mean, most bylaws are there to govern the board, whatever board, is being governed by those bylaws. And, it's not, open season because of, every board that I've ever sat on, these refer to the existing board members.
Right.
So we just wanna, we're trying to make these more user friendly, and if there's any misunderstanding, we want to clarify that.
All right,
Like the same way I couldn't go to another board and say I want to nominate so and so, and I wouldn't be able to do that. So because I'm not a
Right.
member of that board.
Yeah, even
Um,
there are other city boards, those officers are nominated or selected by their peers,
Exactly.
not done by the public.
Right.
what if we said only community board members can be nominated for positions?
Well, that I mean, that is already,
Do we say
no,
that?
I think
Yeah, saying
that's
that.
already understood, and that we're talking about, like, I couldn't nominate, my neighbor to be on the community, to be a position, because they're not a member of the community board. So that's not what we're trying to clarify is who can make a
Right,
nomination.
only community board members can
Can nominate
nominate
officers.
candidates for elected positions. No,
We
yes,
have to leave
I mean-
something that reflects taking the nominations from the floor, because it's not necessarily a direct meeting. It's, any board member, any community board member at that moment on the floor as we're having the discussion can make a nomination.
That's
Right.
correct. Yeah.
So I think it'll be just easier if we leave it where we say that nominations can be taken from the floor. We just have to reword a little bit.
to
But we're-
make
what we're
sure
trying
that
to say- what we're try-
nominations are board members.
I think that we want to clarify is that the floor means community board members.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely,
That's what we mean by the floor.
right.
Right. In other words, not just whoever's in the room, it's whoever is
So
a board member.
just
in
get
the
rid
room.
of the floor.
Yeah, I
Nominations
would
are
get rid of the
taken
floor.
from-
Good point.
Are taken from
Yeah.
community board members.
Right,
All
That's
nominations,
true.
So that,
Yeah,
So
but
on the
this
floor-
is but this is a parliamentary word they use, floor, meaning, in other words, I don't have to, like, for example, I don't
It has
have
to
to submit a nomination 2 months before the meeting in writing or an app,
oh, I see what you're saying.
See, that's
It has
why
to be
the
at the
floor
day
of.
position, that needs to stay,
So you
because
can
that's a
say,
parliamentary word.
can you say
Right, it's-
no nominations are taken during the meeting?
You have May general board meeting on the other side. The schedule,
but that's what the floor means. And then
Okay.
so
Right, in
Yeah.
other words,
Well,
at the
nomin-
May
okay.
meeting,
maybe. it should
nominations
say-
will be taken.
you have that already, May general board
Right.
meeting, so,
Right, but it's understood because there's always that chance that a unscrupulous board would say, oh, you should have made your nomination in writing, because it doesn't say that, see?
okay.
When it
I-
says from the floor, that
Right.
means, I don't like the people who are running, I'm gonna make another nomination as a board
Okay.
member. You understand? So
Mhm.
that's why it's written like that you could take nominations from the floor. If you remove that word, the floor, that means that it opens up another can of worms.
Right.
Andrew, am I
Mhm.
correct? Because you're,
I think you could say something, you can mention the nominating committee. So the nominating committee, because the nominating committee is the one who takes those
No,
nominations
no,
from the
we-
floor.
Taking the nominations from the floor means that any given member can raise their hand, and say, I nominate so-and-so.
Right,
Right.
It's the way that we're
But
having
that's
the
the way, but that's
conversation.
the way it would be. That's the way it
Yeah.
would be anyway.
Yeah,
right,
but we can't say the nominating committee will be taken. I mean, it has to come from the board member who wants to make the actual nomination on the floor when we're having the discussion. So,
Right, so the community board members, they make the nomination, but the nominating committee takes that nomination, right?
Yeah, but I think that's nitpicking. I think what's important here is that any community board member has the right to nominate
nominate somebody.
someone. And then it's,
Right. We don't wanna-
whatever the mechanism is for recording or accepting that is the nominating committee. But I think what's important here is that what we want to say is that each community board member is empowered to nominate, if they so choose to nominate anyone themselves or anybody else for a position, an officer position. That's all that is.
maybe it's changing it to community board members can make a nomination on the floor.
there you go.
Only community board members, maybe,
Yeah, well,
make nominations
Community board
from the
members
floor. Okay,
will make nominations from the floor
Or
at the
Can
May.
make,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
some board members don't
right,
express. Community board members can make nominations from the floor.
period.
you don't want to put only before community?
what?
The word only community board members can make nominations from the floor. No,
Yeah, because that's the thing. We want to make sure that people understand it's only community board
Only,
members that can
right.
make
We
nominations.
can do that. We can put only.
Yeah, other than that, it's good. 'Cause someone may question that.
That's it.
That's
So then we
good.
have to change,
So
wait, so
at the
then,
May meeting,
so then we have to change B
community board
reflect-
members,
to reflect that.
But can I ask a question about the main, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm speaking from my phone and it's hard for me to read the bylaws, but wouldn't this hold true for any election, whether it's, if it's a special election or a May election? Do we need to include or say the time frame? Would this hold true also for a special election?
Well,
That
we
might-
have-
yes.
Outside of
yeah,
outside of-
Right.
Yeah, but right now, this particular section just, special elections only happen in specific
Okay.
events, right? They're
Mhm.
not technically
So those-
supposed to.
But the same rules will apply for a special election as they are for the
For-
May ele-
Just the same way, just the same way it happened with me, right?
Right,
When Emmanuel resigned, there
Mhm.
was a committee made, there was a day selected and nominations were taken on the floor. Same exact procedure, just
Okay, all
the
right,
timeframe will change depending when the issue occurs.
right, okay. I just want to make sure that that's understood, that whatever we're saying
Yeah.
for the general, the main election, that it holds true for any special elections as well.
It doesn't change.
Okay,
Okay,
In the paragraph above this chart, the
Mhm.
last sentence says for the May meeting, but it should be for the June meeting.
let me see, where are you talking? Okay.
This
The
committee
committee shall
select.
select the chairperson.
yes, that should be changed. Good point, Eric.
Right. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Okay, so then B has to reflect what we just put in for. We could put only by community board members.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Okay,
We want
I
to
think that
address,
clarifies that. Somebody's has a hand raised. I don't know who that is.
Hey, good morning.
I have a question. Do we want to address an issue that will the general public attending nomination or the election have an opportunity to speak out in support or not support of a candidate, or only board members will participate in making a speech or whatever, giving input as to support or non-support?
Well,
Don't we allow that already? Don't we allow people to comment? It was,
Yeah, in the public session, correct?
yeah, I don't
Say
see a
whatever they
problem.
want.
And that's what the public session is for.
Right, at the
Right.
public session, they'll know who the nominees are, and if there's a person from the public that supports a particular person, they have the right to do that, I think,
Right, to say what they want.
I don't see a problem with that. They just can't vote, and they can't make nominations, but they could,
Should-
they
can
could write a
express-
letter to the board in favor of
Yeah, they can
somebody,
ex-
they could make a statement.
They can express their
Should we
feelings
say
at
that?
that time.
Should we actually say that in our bylaws so everybody
No.
knows?
No, we don't have
No,
to.
We don't have to. That's
We
just
don't have
general
to.
information.
Mm-hmm. Right, because we have the public, that, I think that's what the public session is for, that they can comment on whatever the board decision is going to, whatever the board is working on that evening.
Right.
They have
Plus,
a right to comment.
plus the fact, once the board meeting starts, the public doesn't speak.
Right. All right, so is everybody okay with that change? We should vote on that.
I'm sorry, I had my hand raised.
I haven't acknowledged you yet because we're still, I'll give you a minute.
Go now. The current writing ensures the public's right to who represents them, as you are all appointed
Wait,
and not
oh,
elected to these
AJ,
positions.
you haven't
hold on,
been,
AJ.
we're still in business.
The
Yes.
chair has to give you
Still
the
in board
floor,
business.
AJ.
I haven't given you the floor yet. I'm sorry. So committee members, is everybody okay with that change to add only community board members? So that there's no more misunderstanding.
Yes.
Okay, so let's call a vote. Myrna Caldron is yes. Barbara Strancer,
Barbara Stranza votes yes.
Andrew Laosa,
Drew Leosa supports the motion.
Betty Arce,
Betty Arce supports the motion.
Yahaira Arias,
Hi, Arias supports the motion.
Eric Asensio. We're all here. Okay, so everybody's okay with that change. We will present that that addendum with the rest of the changes. Now, can we also now go to the actual motion that's going to be presented to the executive board? Can you pull that up? There's nothing else, right? We're good now. So let's pull that motion up so we can read it into public.
My only other comment was, Myrna, in section 6, like Article 6, Section 6,
Okay,
just some housekeeping also. Issue list, it says zoning, land use and zoning, housing, land use and zoning committee. It
Right.
should list the right committee. That's the standing committee.
what is it? What does it say? I don't.
Article 6, Section 6.
Article 6, Article 6, sections.
So if it is, yeah, exactly. It's to say housing, land use and zoning committee,
Okay,
and that doesn't exist. So it should say housing, land use and economic development.
all right, okay, we met, that was originally taken out, somehow it got put back in. All right, thank you. You got that? Thank you. That was an oversight. Okay. All right, so now let's okay, so now can if that's the last housekeeping, let's go over the actual motion that's going to be presented to the executive board and the full board. Does somebody want to read the motion?
All right.
Okay,
The motion is amendments to Bronx CB7 by the committee is the ad hoc bylaws. Who should action motion be addressed to? Bronx Community Board 7 board members. The recommended action, Hoc Bylaws Committee recommendation of Bronx CB7's proposed 2020 amended bylaws. Background for this motion is Community Board 7 Community Board 7 bylaws needed to be revised to comply with the city charter to remove redundancies, needed clarifications. Attached in this motion are links to the revision of the CB7 bylaws, as well as a bit.ly link The rationale for the recommendation is CB7 bylaws were full of redundancy and confusing language, or action by bylaws were updated by a prior committee in 2021. However, no vote was taken. The prior action, the bylaws were updated by a prior committee in 2021. However, no vote was taken. Future actions to present revisions of the bylaws of Bronx Community Board 7 for approval of the Executive Committee of Boards of Community Board 7 and for a full vote of Bronx Community Board 7. Committee vote was unanimously approved.
Okay,
So the motion is to present the revised bylaws to the exec committee for a vote. And then once that vote is taken, to be presented one more time at the general board for a full board approval and adoption.
okay, any questions on the motion?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, is everybody in agreement with the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and, can we take comments from the public at this time for the motion? Or, so I don't want to exclude anybody. I think we can allow,
Sorry, Marna, we have to take a formal vote because this is a formal
Right.
motion.
Right.
okay,
Have a
all right,
formal vote.
okay, so who makes a motion? And who's making the motion to approve the motion?
Motion to approve the motion.
Who seconds?
I second it, Barbara Stronza.
Okay, let's take the vote. Okay, let me pull that vote up again. Myrna Calderon says yes. Andrew Leosa,
Andrew Leosa approves the motion.
Barbara Stronzer,
Barbara Stronza is in favor.
Betty Arce,
Betty Arce approves the motion.
Yahira Arias,
Hira Arias approves the motion.
did I call? Oh yeah, I called Betty. Erica Asensio,
I don't think I'm on that committee, but
you're not, right?
no,
Okay,
no.
I just see you. Okay, so we have unanimous approval of the motion. Motion carries to be presented at the next executive committee member of Community Board 7, then to be presented to the full public with all the changes to the bylaws. Thank you. And at this time, I know that AJ had his hand raised. I want to give him a chance to speak. Go ahead,
Yes, ma'am.
AJ.
Sorry about that. When I read
That's okay.
the comptroller's audit, it said something about hearing from the public before vote, so I thought that was the time for me to do it. I apologize. But with that, I would like the board to be in compliance with the comptroller audit. They specifically cite you guys in the past bylaw meetings and not hearing from the public. And I think that's exactly why the current writing on that section B, what used to be section C, is so crucial, because the current writing ensures the public's right to who represents them. As you are all appointed and not elected to the positions, the public has no real say in who gets to represent them. Corrupting that is nothing more than a petty power grab right before this election, and is why I will be reserving my right to nominate till these go into effect or until told by the board's legal counsel that I cannot in the most recent election. Thank you so much, and I do apologize about before.
That's okay, and that's your right. Thank you, AJ. Any other comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
We are going to present these bylaws to the executive committee Thursday night. Is that what the plan is?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the full board in June. So in other words, or no, the full board in May, correct?
Right.
Yes,
Okay,
on Tuesday.
Yeah, because they
okay.
got a copy. They got a copy of the changes, and now they're just gonna have to get those two little addendums.
Right, the couple of things we did today.
Right.
All board members received an email with the old bylaws and the new ones before these little changes,
Right,
so that they can review and compare. So we'll send tonight, I'll coordinate with Carla, we'll send out the new ones with these voted changes, so everyone can have them for tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll present at the exec for that one vote, and then we'll send another email with the actual approved bylaws for the Tuesday general board meeting so that everyone can vote.
Okay,
Perfect.
my next question is.
AJ,
when-
because of the way we've been doing it the whole time, there will be a public hearing
Okay.
like we always do at the general board.
Right. When do they become effective?
I mean, most boards, once you vote on something, it becomes effective. We could check with the borough president's office.
Okay, so we would have to, since there
believe
is some
we
change
will be-
in the positions for our election, we would have to approve the new bylaws before anybody nominates anybody, correct?
Correct,
Okay, as long as we have the order right. Okay.
correct.
Yes, the
And
bylaws will
Carla,
have to
can you
be,
check on that for us to make sure?
the bylaws will have to be voted on first, and then we'll move to the second action, which will be
Right.
the nominations, because we're gonna have to list what the officers' positions are.
Correct, right, and we have changes, which means we won't have a treasurer, we're having what is it?
Yeah,
Member at
we-
large?
Parliament,
Whatever you want to call the
so
person.
we no
Right.
longer
Yeah,
have
I'm also
a
sharing my
treasurer.
screen.
Treasurer does not exist.
Okay, and I guess the nominating committee would have to know about this too.
Correct. Everyone will get it
Okay, good.
tonight at the latest.
Yes, and also the bylaws say when the bylaws become effective.
Yes.
And that
Okay.
is,
They shall, these bylaws shall be adopted when approved by a quorum of appointed members of the board
Members.
present at a meeting of the board.
Right.
The agenda for which shall have, including consideration of bylaws. The approved bylaws shall be filed with the city planning committee pursuant to section 6, whatever that is, I can't see the number. 4.042 of the Uniform Land Use Review Procedures. So that's it. Once the board votes and we have a quorum and we vote, they're adopted. So there you go.
and although they go to the borough presidents or the city planning commission, that doesn't preclude us from being able to move on those
No,
bylaws, correct?
Like
Can- can move
No,
on them
you
regard-
just share them with them so they can update their records.
Got it, okay,
So they can have the most current bylaws from CB7.
okay, okay,
Okay.
Okay.
okay. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna have to leave because I've got this kid who's gonna drive me crazy. Sorry, and he's just
Okay.
taking every single glass from the bar.
Oh. I'm gonna just
Well,
go
I
mute.
think we're
I'll
done.
go mute.
I think so.
Okay, so somebody make a motion to adjourn.
a
Motion
second.
to adjourn.
I move.
Do we
we
have a
close the
second?
meeting.
I
Do we have a
second.
second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.